Okay, so we are back.
Back from the break.
Yay! And where did we leave off?
Need to add monsters to test, I guess.
Yes, monsters and rooms.
Monsters and rooms, indeed.
So for that, let's make a package. So we are.
What is a package?
So basically, it's a thing that can divide code into like considerable chunks that work alone. So basically, if you want to add it to another project or something, you can just take the package of rooms and just put it into another thing.
Yeah, and on your hard drive, that's basically just folders.
Yeah.
Yeah, each one of the packages are gonna be made into a folder.
So basically, we want to make tests, and we want to make them correctly. So we want to add a new package to the test file, right?
Yeah, we're gonna make a package.
And what should we call?
Monsters?
Or rooms? What should we start from?
I think it's easier to start with monsters.
Let's start with monsters.
So
basically, the monsters are gonna be part of this usable character. If we implement users later, so they will be in the same package, right?
Monsters and the players.
Yeah. So are they?
I think we're thinking too far. We can.
Oh, let's just make monsters.
The
Monsters.
package should start with small, not capital. Yeah, that's just the convention that you name the packages with small letters.
Yes. So we are learning here as well.
Yeah.
We want to make mistakes. We want to point them out. So if you want to do it, lost my train of thought.
Alrighty. So let's say we have basic test here in the monsters package, and it's gonna be a monster test or monster test. And I'm just gonna remove these useless lines again. And we're gonna use this awesome shortcut that was Alt Insert. So we can generate code, and we want to create the test method. So we're gonna create the test method of JUnit. And naming it, there's a cool naming convention that I really like. It's called, you start your test with a word should. Yeah, and
then something that we are testing.
Okay, now we need to figure out what we want. What would describe a monster? What does that monster have to be able to do? Or
so monsters should have HP.
I agree. Monsters should have HP. I guess that's a really easy way to go.
Should have HP.
Or maybe we can say starting HP.
Okay, let's say starting HP.
Yeah, so each monster should have some kind of a starting HP.
Now we want to make a monster and see if it has starting HP.
Yeah.
So monster equals new monster. So basically we are getting rid of it already, so we can just implement this.
Yeah, you can keep this habit of trying to run this code now. That was Alt 4. Let's run something else.
Okay.
Alright. Shortcuts not working that easily. And since you can't really see the shortcuts either, let's just use the mouse.
So we want to Ctrl-Shift F10. Ctrl-Shift F10.
And that should run it. And we have a problem. There's no monsters class. So I guess we should create one.
Yeah, let's do monster class.
Let's get our tests passing again. So we need to get the same package into our source code folder.
Maybe we can just go.
Oh yeah, maybe we can
make our
great class.
Monster, yes, and we want it to be in the monsters package.
That will create it in the tests.
Was it tests? Okay.
Yeah.
How do I undo? Ctrl-Z. Yes.
Man, this is a smart even. I love it.
So
great class monster.
Yes. And destination package is monster, and we want to make it not into test. In the same.
You need to browse for it.
So okay.
And we want to make it into
Java
main,
monsters.
yeah, source main Java monsters into that package. Go there. Booms. So if you look at the structure of the project, you see under Java monsters we have a monster.
Yeah.
And in the tests we have the same thing. Java monsters monsters. So this class over here, tests this class over here. So that's the kind of a project structure you can keep track of stuff. Alright, so now we have a monster class, and if we go back to our monster test, hey,
it's passing. It's what?
No, we don't know if it's passing it. We need to run it to find out.
Let's run it.
Yeah, but at least it should compile. It compiled, it passed. Awesome. So now we need to break the test again. Let's add some kind of requirement that we break this test.
So basically we want to assert that maybe we want to make a monster whose starting HP is 20.
Yeah, that sounds a great idea. Okay. So basically in Java world what that says, we're going to create a monster with 20 and we're going to name that HP.
So basically we are giving it an argument that the class will do something with.
Yeah.
So do you want to implement it?
Well, yeah, we can, that's
so
a good
basically
idea.
it's red, we should get it not red, because red is a beautiful color.
It's an ugly color, we need to get rid of it. So anyway, the easy way in this IDE is, again, that you press, I guess it was Alt-Enter, and it will suggest a fix for this problem. So we just go, it offers a, hey, you should create a constructor for this. Okay, let's create a constructor. And now it kind of like offers you, hey, what do you want to do with that number? Is that number an int, long, float, boolean, whatever? Okay, now we're going to be a boolean. So anyway, I'm just going to agree that it's an int, and we're going to name it HP. Cool. And we won't do anything with it. We're just going to leave this blank here. And
yes.
Now, hey, it's passing again. Great. So we can try to run it.
Success.
And it works. So this is basically the test-driven development. Whenever you can, you press the play button and see if it goes green, and then you try to break the test again by adding some kind of new functionality. Alright, so now what we want to do, we want to assert. So this is the assert library of the JUnit that we imported. See this green thing that we imported up there will give us this kind of huge thing assert that we can use. And now we want to call assert equals, and we want to say that 20 should be the amount of HP that the monster has. So monster dot get current HP, right?
Awesome.
Awesome. So if you try to run this, this should fail because it doesn't even compile. There's no method get current HP. Okay, so let's go and try to implement this method.
Okay, I'm gonna try to do that.
Alright, that's a great idea.
Let's try to use the power of IntelliJ. So I'll enter and create getter.
Great getter, that sounds great.
Yeah, it's a get method, so it should be a getter.
Yes,
and we want to get int, and we want to get current HP, and we want to return current HP. So what happened? That the test is red, but it should not compile. No, it should compile, but it should get an error.
I'm gonna get to the point where this is crossed out in a second. Let's just see what the test does first. So interesting. How does it work anyway? Oh, it created. Okay. So it created. Oops, sorry. So it created a private integer variable here, and it doesn't have any value. So that's where the test is currently failing. It says that, hey, I was expecting to get 20 for the monster that I created here. It should have 20 HP, but I just got 0. Dude, it's broken. It's broken. You need to fix it.
Why are you not working, program? So what was it? Why is it crossed out?
All right, we'll get to the HP of the monster in a second. Over here, I made a small mistake of allowing the Intelli or this software here to add a library by itself. And what it did, it added the wrong library. And the crossed out means that it's deprecated. What is deprecated? Deprecated means that the library
is old. There's a newer version of it.
There's a newer version of it, and this particular method or class is said to be, hey, we're just gonna keep this method here for you for a few more versions, but we're letting you know now that in few versions we're gonna remove this or replace it. So now you have like a month or a few to rewrite your code so that you could use the new versions. So I'm gonna try to import it again. Instead, I'm gonna remove it. It's gonna show me an error that, hey, this class, we don't know what this is. You should import it. So I'm just gonna use the shortcut Alt-Enter, and I'm gonna say, yeah, I want to import this class. And now it gives me two offers. At first, I imported the first one, which was the framework assert. But now I'm gonna try the second one. I'm just gonna try it. Let's see what happens. Hey, and this one doesn't cross out. It means,
Yay, it's newer.
Yeah, it's newer. This one will stay with you for a longer time. So.
Okay, I'm just gonna check if we're working. Yes, we're working.
Operational.
There's really little of you to see. See to you.
Well, I'm not that pretty anyway.
Okay, okay. So we're operational, and we have 2 watchers. Awesome!
Great. That makes 4 of us. All right. So, what was the problem? We tried to run it. We're missing HP here. Oh man, that's bad. So we go to the monster class, and if you can see it over here, we're asking for HP. Then we give out the current HP. But if we're creating the monster, we're not really doing anything with the number that you're giving the monster when you create it. We need to like do something with it. So
basically we're throwing integers at the monster and then they're falling off. And you just need to catch it.
Yeah, precisely. There's nowhere to store it. Or there's a place there where to store it, which is not storing at the moment. So I'm just gonna fix that. Current HP will equal the HP that you provided. So
basically it will save the HP that we're gonna give it into this container basically.
Yeah.
And this time if we're gonna get current HP, we're gonna return the container which had the HP attached to it.
Yeah. Really awesome basic programming.
Yay.
So now that we made the change, let's see if our test has a different result for us. Come on, green. Yeah. We made the test pass.
So basically, if you make more and more tests, you don't have to like test them like one at a time. So we should be able to just run all tests.
Yeah, you can.
Can we do that?
Yeah, you can do that by, for example, picking on the Java folder in the tests, and then go run all tests. And what this does now, it ran 2 tests. You see 2 tests passed. That's really great. You can see all tests passed. Man, awesome! Yeah. That's always a great thing to see. Green stuff that your software is working.
And then at the moment, our code should be like 100% tested.
Yeah. So what is this 100% tested? This coverage thing?
I don't know. Tell me.
All right. So basically, in bigger projects where you have like thousands and thousands of lines of code, there's a measurement that will like tell you how much of your code is tested. That it happens like this: that if you run all of your tests, the code will then measure which one of the lines in the code got activated while running the tests and which lines of the code didn't get initiated at all. And from that it will give you a percentage value. For example, 50% of the lines in your program were run during the test. And from that you can conclude, hey, 50% of my code is tested. But other 50%, I have no idea if it works or not. I'm just gonna,
assume it.
Yeah, precisely. There's no way for you to actually tell it. Yeah, well, the test's bad, but I don't know what half of my software is doing.
Yeah. In the time, I wrote another test. So our monster should have strength, right?
Yeah, it should be a strong monster.
So if we make a monster, we should be able to
provide a strength variable.
Yeah, I think so. So let's make a monster. New monster. Let's add the HP that we did before.
Yeah.
And now let's try to say, monster, your strength is X.
Yeah,
that's our monster. Dot set strength. And let's say the monster strength is 5.
Yeah. Alright, so that should. So we're gonna run all of the tests now. And boom, it doesn't even compile. There's no method. Okay, so I'm just gonna go. Let's see. Can I do it with mouse? I haven't really tried to use the mouse to like suggest code for me. Is it possible?
Yes.
Can it be done?
Yes.
Ah, you see, it gives you this red light bulb here. And press that, and well, let's create a setter method. Yeah. Let's do that. So it provided us with a method. This is the one that it just generated. Public void set strength of int to strength, and yeah, let's put that way. So what happened here? What happened? God damn it! I've been using the other readers for so long. I don't know the shortcuts by now, so I have to use the mouse. Alright, so we created a method set strength. It will take an input of strength and it will store it as this dot strength over here.
Awesome.
This grayed out thing As you can see, current HP is purple, but strength is kind of like grayed out. That means variable strength is not used anywhere. It's just taken as an input, but you don't use it anywhere. So that's kind of a hint for you that, hey, you might want to check if that variable is still used, or you want to remove this. It's kind of like useless code. But yeah, at the moment, we're just storing it. We're not doing anything with it. But we'll get to that in a second. So we have set the strength, and now we'd like to assert that, hey, did this work? Assert equals, and we expect that, hey, 5 should be the value of monster get strength. So that's what we're gonna expect, and for that we can just all in standard party, run all the tests in standard party. That's our project, standard party. And cannot find the symbol.
So I'm gonna try to fix it.
Alright, let's see what this hacker can do. I bet you can fix this one. It's a real hard one.
So I'm gonna create a getter class, which we did for the
method.
Oh,
you already failed!
My only chance!
That's it, out of the
So yeah, I created a getter method, which was the same thing with current HP. Yeah. So we are doing the same thing.
I think we made a typo. Now we have a strength and strength.
Yeah.
Well, actually, no, this is great. Don't fix it. Don't fix it. Put it back. So we tried to fix it. Hey, we just made this awesome code, right? And now we try to run all the tests in it. Yeah, that should totally be 5, right? But oh no, it's 0. Why is it so? Okay, so let's go check this out. You can select the method with your cursor, or you can just go there with your caret. What's the caret?
Yeah.
And click Ctrl B.
So basically, it's gonna go where the method is.
Yeah. And over here we see, okay, well that's gonna get it, and now we have, oh, derp. Now we have strength and strength. So let's remove the useless one. Okay, and now it says that, hey, there's no variable here, so I'm just gonna copy paste that. Actually, should have taken it as a refactoring, but okay. So we rename it.
We can refactor the class name.
Yeah.
No, not the class, method name. Oh, I am so tired.
So what was the shortcut here for the refactoring?
I'm not sure. Let's go. Refactor this.
Oh, rename.
Shift
rename. Shift F6.
Oh, that's even better. Yeah.
Yeah.
Shift F6, and we want it to be strength.
You need T before each. Yeah. Strength. No.
Awesome. So what this did, it made this better, and also it did the same thing everywhere where it was used.
Yeah. Yeah. It renamed it all over the code. We found all the files where we used this type of a strength, and then it renamed it. So now that if we run our tests, it should ask the value from the correct variable. Yay! Our 3 tests already passing. Awesome.
Yay! So the next thing we want to do is the monster should have a name, right?
Yeah.
Let's just add a quick name. So this methods.
While Sander is writing this test, this is basically really easy tests, as they just test if your setters work. In like bigger projects, you won't really write tests for something this simple, as there's really no logic in there. What would I call a logic? If it has an if method in it, it has some kind of a logic, and you should probably test it. But this method, where it just takes a value and sets it, there's no use in writing a test for it. But I guess it's a great example to display what tests are all about.
Yeah, but with this test, I want to do them I want to rework the constructor of the class, so we could just give it more things. Mm-hmm. So we want the HP, we want the strength, we want the name. Mm-hmm. And yeah, this is a thing that we can...
Yeah, we will try to implement this. Yes. Alright. Oops, sorry, my bad. Wrong keys. Great. Constructor. What's a signature? What's the difference between a constructor and a signature? I'm curious. I'm just gonna find out.
Press the signature. Ooh. So basically, this is gonna make a constructor, but
it's gonna refactor as well.
Yeah.
defaults and everything.
So let's make a usual
Constructor.
Yeah.
All right. We want a constructor for this. Yeah. Int. This is gonna be HP.
Yeah, it can be. Let it be. Let it be
All right. Current HP. This is gonna be strength, right?
Mm-hmm.
Strength. It's gonna be a string of name, and now we want these all to be this current HP. So we're gonna just set all of the values that we provided here. There's probably a way to generate this. I feel redundant. I know the other way you can do this is I'm just gonna finish writing this setting of all the variables, but I'm just gonna show you one that I know by heart. So, and finally we're going to just set this name equals name, and over here we're going to create this variable, create field name. All right, this string should not be final. All right. So anyway, what I wanted to show that you can generate a constructor if you already have all these variables. You can go like insert constructor, and you can just select, hey, I want something that has all these two variables as an input, and boom, you have a constructor that is immediately generated. So you don't have to write this out. And there's a lot of stuff that will just do this generic thing for you, but yeah, I'm sure you can find it out on your own.
Yeah, but this time we have this here. So this refers to the class. So basically,
the class.
Yes, the class and its variables. So this means that this name equals the name that's given to the constructor.
Yeah, the way to understand this is that on this line of code, if the computer is running it line by line, on this line you actually have two name variables. One name variable is the one that is stored in the class, and another name variable is the one that was provided to the constructor. So when you get to this line, we're going to say that the variable called name of the class is going to be equal to the name that was provided to the constructor. So it's kind of like, what? Tie these two together and store it. And after this has run, only this one will be left. I mean, this is the one that's in the class, so this one will remain. But this one that was provided into here is just going to be deleted or discarded, or it will be garbage collected. In the Java world, it's garbage collection. So after this method ends, there will be no more regular string name. It'll be just the one that's in the class here.
Okay.
Alright, so this was like...
Yeah, and if we go to the tests, we can see it compiles.
Awesome. So now you want to...
Before... Okay, let's complete this test. Yeah, we want to assert equals that our name is Fluffy. So we don't have the function, we're gonna create a getter, and it should be alright. And if we run the tests, it should be alright. But now, I just want to get rid of this because we don't want to, no, not get current HP, but the monster that we can create with HP. We don't want to players, or we don't want to use it. So I'm just gonna delete it and check if everything's still running. Dun dun dun. Okay, our code is broken. So what do we have to do? We are making the same monster like 3 times. Should we make a function of it?
Or I actually had another idea that we can. But creating a function is also a great thing. I just had another idea that we can do to make these constructors easier to understand. But we can get to that later. Yeah, you can create a method. That's a good idea.
Okay. Do we want to make a constructor? And not a constructor or a function, or do we want to make a before test thing?
I see where you're going now.
So, which way do we want to do this?
Oh, here, well, if we would just want to introduce the before concept, I don't think we have that much here to test. I like the idea that you have the sense that, hey, the first line here, we're just creating something and then we're seeing if it's true.
Okay.
But if you remove another method, so
okay, let's just make a function.
to get a new monster array.
Yeah. So we can just call the same function, use the same code just all the time, or would be it redundant?
I think that might be redundant, but we can get back to that in a second. I had another great idea how we could kind of like create a monster with specific stats that I saw. So we're just gonna have a regular constructor, and we're gonna say with HP of 20, and so let's see if that one compiles. I'm gonna explain this as soon. Okay, well, it doesn't have.
It needs a constructor, a basic constructor with nothing.
Yeah, it should have it by. Oh, wait, it doesn't have it. So let's just create public monster. I should have generated this probably.
Yes.
Yes, I should have. So I'm just gonna create here.
This is basically an empty function, so not an empty function, empty constructor that makes the class.
Yeah. So what I want to do is I want to be able to chain some of the methods so it will be easy to read. I want to create a monster that be a new monster with HP 20, right? This is easy to read, right?
Yeah.
Right. So I'm just gonna want to implement it so that it would actually work. So if we say that, hey, create a monster with HP of B, then you would. Now this is something object oriented. It's gonna be a bit more difficult for the beginners, but I'm just gonna make this work. So we get the HP, and we're gonna set it to the current HP, and then we're gonna return this. We don't want this over here. It's pointless.
So basically now the code will compile and the tests will work, at least this one.
Yeah.
The other ones will do, yeah.
Alright, so this one worked. And so, now over here what we want to do, this was with HP 20, and what we could also do is, let's say, with strength of 5. So basically this other line that we had, monster set strength to 5, we could, I'm just going to comment it out for a second, we can later decide which one we want to keep. But what I'm just going to want to show this concept that I saw somewhere, is that now we create this with strength, and I'm just going to say this, that strength going to be equal to strength, and again we're going to return this. So now this test should still pass. I'm going to run it, and then I'm going to explain it. So now you have another sentence that goes on like, we want the monster that's a new monster that has with HP 20 and with strength 5, and you can kind of see where this is going. We can chain these together and add a name and etc. etc.
Let us do this.
Yeah. So this is not really a conventional way of creating classes. If you're like in school and you're having your first Java or whatever programming language classes, that's all depending on the course. This might be accepted by the teachers, or it might be considered this is too unconventional, or nobody uses this, so you might want to avoid using it unless you have your permission from the teacher that, hey, I want to create classes like this.
No, use this. This is awesome. So yeah, I made this one as well. So basically now we have two versions of how we can create monsters. And
yeah.
They both can stay in.
Yeah, so we can compare them for a second. Just you can run all the tests, see if it works. Everything's green, great. Awesome. So we can kind of compare it. So what is here? These two lines do the same thing. I'm just gonna rename it here 1 to 2. These two lines do the same thing. This one here is shorter. If you know what each one of these parameters will do, this one is like shorter, so you can say, hey, this is a monster that with HP of 20 and strength of 5 and name Fluffy.
Yeah, but if the project grows and other people are gonna read the code, there will be, oh, what is this? What are these numbers? These magic numbers? I have to go here and I have to like look at okay this does
this
this
is
thing.
HP.
But when I look at this, it's just I get what you're doing here.
It reads like English. I can
What?
actually read this.
Right.
So there's two different ways to do the same thing. One is a bit more descriptive. Other one is like shorter.
Awesome.
So
Now we have our monster. Let's make a room.
awesome. I just want to do.
Oh yeah, we don't need the second one.
We don't need the second one, and also the one concept about testing is try to test one specific thing. Don't try to test too many things. For example, over here, we want to test strength. So we just are curious about this with strength here. We don't care what its name is, so we should remove this. We don't care what its HP is. We should remove this as well. All we want to know is that if we say that we want a monster with a strength of 5, then we should also get a monster with a strength of 5. Why is that necessary? The idea is that if you, the problem is that if you try to test too many things, like we're doing here, now if anything breaks in the system,
all the codes break, all the tests break.
Yeah, all the tests will fail. So we'll have like bazillion tests that are failing, but you have no idea what to repair. But if you have these like very specific tests, so if something fails, you only like fail like 1 or 2 tests, and you immediately know that hey, this is failing. That's probably what's going on. So you can easily fix stuff. You have a like overview of code. Ah, so much theory, so few lines of code.
Yay! So the next thing we want to do is make a room. So we have our monsters. We want a new package of room. A room. Okay, let's just go. Do you want to name it room or do you want to name it something more abstract?
I don't know.
Room is okay.
Small letters.
Making the same mistake twice.
This is kind of a cool thing about pair programming. You can make typos and another one like, ha! You suck!
It's not. So, we just want to rename. F2 does not work.
Oh no. Refactor.
Refactor.
Over here.
Yes, thank you, thank you.
And from there we go. Rename.
Awesome. And we want to
packages should not have capital letters.
Yes.
So we make a room test. Room is basically gonna be some kind of a class that will describe how a zone or some kind of area or a room will work. So how can we describe it? For example, if you would have 2 monsters in a room, then the room class will know which monsters are in the room.
Yes.
Yes. So that's the basic concept of classes. We've been programming for so long, so we can't really describe what's like for my new beginners.
So the room should. Okay, it probably should have a scope, or how big is the room. So how do we want to measure room?
Measure size, yeah.
Measure size.
Measure size of the room. Measure size of the room. Oh boy, oh boy.
So we can make the room jokes that I have a bigger room than you.
Oh, hi Mark. Okay, alright. So we've actually been discussing this during dinner or lunch and stuff, and breaks and whatnot, of how do we want to measure movement or distances and stuff in our so-called game. There's been 2 concepts, one of them being this kind of floating point thing, where you can just, floating point meaning that you can move as much as you like or as little as you like. Another one is like very rigid, like you have squares. On square 1 you have 1 monster, on square 2 you have like empty space, on square 3 you have treasure.
So basically what we want to do is that 2 monsters start going at each other and they're gonna hurt each other, and when they like collide, then they will like hurt each other and like,
so you can imagine it as a platformer game. It's 2D, so one comes from the left side, one comes from the right side, and then they start walking at each other, and when they collide, they try to attack each other.
They are gonna attack each other.
Yeah. Or actually, the more precise description would be if the monster finds another monster within the range to attack, then it will attack. So if you have an archer, the archer will walk with you. Hey, that other monster is in my range. He will start attacking. But if the other one is a melee dude, then it's gonna keep on walking until it gets to. All right, we're getting too fast.
Too complicated. Too fast.
All right.
So actually, we should have size.
All right, that sounds great.
Actually, I like the idea that you pointed out. So basically, we can just make a huge array.
Oh.
And just put the monsters into a position of the array. So if we put our thread running, we can just move the positions, and if they're like in adjacent spots, then they just gonna.
Okay. Yeah. So that was basically a concept that can be a float point one, but it can also be just a square one in the sense of space.
Yes. So we can make the one like array spot like 1 millimeter, or we can make it 1 meter. So it doesn't matter really. Does it help?
Let's try to do this with tests or
we can see how it's gonna fail.
Or do we want to move to this room thing? Maybe we can just try to create two monsters that can attack each other. Doesn't really matter where they are in time and space, in universe.
Yeah, let's make two monsters and bash.
Yeah. Or how much more do we want to do today?
Like make monsters and bash.
Monsters attack each other. Yeah, they already have strength and HP. I mean, they have to kill each other.
Yeah, exactly. They just need a function that will make them fight.
Yeah, they alright.
Fight and target and we're gonna make it fight.
Alright, cool, that sounds great. So let's say
so the room test we're gonna leave it because in the future we want to work on that.
Yeah, but right now we're gonna add a new test. Test method should be able to attack.
Awesome!
Alright. So we basically want to have a monster of monster 1.
No, just go. We want a monster with these variables. Just
Alright.
Copy paste. Awesome.
Cool.
And
we want, this was a duplication that Sander just did. It's Control D, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, yes.
And it just duplicates the line, so you can go like bazillion monsters. Alright, just gonna undo this now. Tok. So we made a monster. This is the second monster. Let's say this one has also 20 HP, but he has only 3 strength. It's a weakling.
And it's gonna be named Fluffier.
Brilliant, I say. Who needs game designers when you got developers? So, and what we want to do is we want monster 1 to attack monster 2, right? So we should, let's see, this should not compile, so we get an error. Yeah, it's broken. And we want to create this method. Alt enter, create method attack. So other monster. Now this is where we need to actually think what will happen here. Or we can leave it blank because the test will pass. Yeah, this is the correct way to do test-driven development. That you're not gonna think in the code that you're writing, but you're gonna think in the test. So let's try to describe what we want to achieve.
So we want assert. Yeah, assert. Assert equals that.
So we want strength to be the amount of HPs that the other person is gonna lose?
Yes.
Awesome, that's great.
So basically we want, basically if monster 2 hits monster 1, then it should have 3 less HP that we gave him.
Yeah.
And get monster 1 get 20 HP. I was thinking this way.
Monster 1 attacks monster 2, and the monster 2 should lose HP, right?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Great.
And this should be 15 then.
Alright, so if monster with strength of 5 attacks another monster with HPs of 20, that should end up with 15 HP. Hey, that makes sense.
So let's run it!
Yeah, let's run this. Let's see what happens. They should fail, right? Oh yeah, we're expecting 50 HP, but the monster still actually has 20 HP.
Program, why you not work?
Yeah. Before we're gonna fix that, I'm just gonna show a way a lot of people format the tests. Is that you add 2 spaces in your test. At least 2 spaces. You can add more if you want. But the idea is the first block of code you have will be a setup for the test. You'll create your monsters. Then you add a space line, and over here you have the action that will be actually performed. This will be the attack. And in the end, you're gonna see that, hey, did the expected result happen? So it will be like when, or given that we have monster and 2, when they attack each other, we're gonna expect that 50 HP will be left on them.
Yay!
Monster.
So let's make it.
Yeah, let's make that happen.
So we have our monster, and if we attack the other monster, we want the other monster to lose life. Other monster lose life. We lose HP. And the amount that we want, and the amount has to be strength. So basically, the amount of strength this monster has will be lost in the other monster's health. To make it compile, let's just make a method. Public void lose HP.
Yeah. It's great that we're gonna just write it out. We would have generated this, but it's great to see that we just write stuff as well.
Okay, we don't want the strength, we want damage. So basically, we're gonna lose HP of the
amount of
damage that we are gonna receive. So, and we want our current HP to
minus equal damage.
Yes. So basically, this should make that as well.
Yeah, minus equal is basically subtraction.
So we can write it like long equals current HP minus damage. So basically, this thing is the same as this.
Yeah, they're equivalent. Just this one is for software developers. It's easy to understand. For anybody else who reads that, we're like, what the bloody fuck? Sorry.
So we're gonna have our tests that we're gonna run.
Yeah.
And where's the run? Yay! So
boom,
we're done. Yeah, we have our monster that can attack. Cool. So now we should have a pit, and it should have a method fight to the death.
Or should we actually? That's also a great way. Oh man, it's gonna be awesome. I love this already. So
what were you thinking?
I was just thinking, how should we keep on going, or?
No. This is a really nice place to just.
Yeah. I mean, I have so many ideas which way to head with this. There's so many cool ideas in my mind, and I think this is a great way to start.
Anyway, we want to collect ourselves.
Yeah, precisely. We're probably gonna be uploading this code, and then continue whenever we can. Probably not this weekend. Out of town this weekend.
Yeah, next weekend maybe.
Yeah, maybe
next week.
Yeah, precisely.
Weeknights would be awesome to just make like 2 hours of programming or so. And if we have our start thing, it's just
disregard life develop software.
Yes. Make fun and enjoy, make our own game. Yay!
Alright, it was great.
But it was awesome.
Alright, thanks guys for watching. See you guys on the next
We are the programming Archon. We need to practice our punchline.
Yeah, we need a punchline. Anybody got an awesome programming punchline?
Be a better programmer.
Let us know. We'll develop software for punchline. Alright.